And every time, whenever the music stops, the same people end up with all the assets. And they don't really need to make it substantially different. But, of course, they will use, new things to make it easier for them to control us. So, something like having us all chipped and having us all dumbed down with vaccines or with chemtrails or with fluoride in the water supply. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they do that? But they don't want to destroy the people that supply, the people who want to be like them, the middle classes, for instance. They probably don't want to destroy them. And they don't want to make the working classes so desperate for something to eat that they will revolt, because there are more of them than there are of those people who are in control.
I think one guy's interpretation of this all, which I highly recommend to everyone, is the anti-terrorist on YouTube. I like his take on everything, especially the sort of preparation in his, he can teach people his methods or his ideas about storing food or survival in urban environments as well as the country. He's got a very good take on all of this. I mean, are you familiar with the anti-terrorist Theo?
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos, on YouTube. Yeah, well, he's obviously got something to say. He's obviously got, an opinion.
Comedy as well. I think if we can, we're always looking at ways to try and bring comedy into trying to spread the messages. If you want, I don't like running around saying, we need to help people wake up. And I get criticised for saying this, obviously, but in a way, sometimes I get bored of looking at ways of waking people up. Why don't we just walk the path? And if people want to follow us, then they'll follow us.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I agree with that as well. I think everybody agrees with that.
Yeah, all we can ever do, really, is what the moment requires of us.
Because we're all on an individual journey. We're not here to dictate to all of the, and I hate the word sheeple. I much prefer the word the sleepers. I like that a lot better. It's sort of less condescending, but it still is a negative connotation. But we've all got our own journey. We've all got to make our own way. And trying to tell other people what they should be doing, I don't think is the way to go about it. Yeah, by all means, give them information and give them what you believe is your truth. But I see a lot of people who get upset and angry because their friends have either deleted them from Facebook or they've had an argument with the family about something lawful, legal, or there's so much conflict between friends because they're trying to bring other people onto their chain of thought. I'd say just go with your instincts and follow your own path. That's my advice anyway. And people can either agree with that or disagree with that.
How's it been for you, Theo?
Well, there are real risks for people to take on board some of this truth agenda stuff. There are real personal risks. They put themselves in danger. Their life will never be the same again. They can't take anything on the media on trust anymore. They have to question everything all the time. They have to see through the mask. They have to peel back the curtain and see that the Wizard of Oz is just an old bloke with a microphone. It's dangerous. It's much easier for them to go on blithely thinking the world is as they think it was. It's like the Matrix, isn't it? You take the red pill, you take the blue pill. If you take the red pill, you have to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. You can't just stay at the top looking down. You've got to jump in, haven't you? And that's why a lot of people don't want to know, even though they know they know. Even though they have got lots of suspicions, and they are afraid that if they even think about it, so they stop thinking about it. They force themselves not to think about it because they don't want to know. And so even the really obvious things like 9/11, they just don't want to look at it, and they think you're crazy. You guys are crazy because you think it was, not a bunch of Arabs with box cutters directed by a bloke in a cave in Afghanistan whose brother just happened to be in business with the American president.
And then who turned up alive and well in Saudi Arabia, several of these alleged suicide bombers.
Yeah, of course. Well, none of them were on the planes. They're not even on the fests, They don't want to look at that. They want to believe because it's safe for them. They worry about their family. They worry about their children. They worry about their parents and their partners and so on, and their job, and how much, and paying the mortgage, and going to Tesco's and Sainsbury's and other supermarkets and all the rest of it. it demands that they think.
But you've been through this. You've been through this ridicule, perhaps yourself. I think everyone who has been through this has faced it. Do you still get it, or do you find that your family and friends around you now are fully understanding of the situation, or because we all suffer this?
I can honestly say I've never been ridiculed for my beliefs about what's really going on in the world, because I try and give it to people in a truth light, if you like, and I say to them things like, have you thought about what really happened on 9/11? Because isn't it bizarre that a 757 can disappear into a 16-foot round hole? And if they want to know more, they'll ask me. If they don't, they won't.
Exactly.
So if you try and rub it in people's faces and say you're a bloody idiot, you're a sheeple, you're a slave, then they're going to get annoyed. But if they're ready for that, then fine.
Well, talking about the New World Order, and obviously this requires police and forces to impose, we have a question from Scottish Sovereign, who's asking an opinion, really, of you, Theo. Wants to know if the sizing down of the police forces in the UK is genuine or just another illusion, in your opinion. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I wasn't aware that they were sizing it down. Is this part of a government?
Yeah, they're sort of scaling down, but creating the new FBI for the UK. Following the Raoul Moat incident, which really affected us up in this particular area where we live in the northeast of England, it was like we were occupied by men carrying machine guns constantly. It was scary. It was quite profound.
Well, starting a new FBI, they're scaling it up, not scaling it down.
Well, that would be my answer to the Scottish Sovereign. Yes, it's actually being scaled up. I think rationalised is the word. They'll get rid of the chaff.
Well, they're bringing the civil side in. They're increasing the non-oath sworn entities such as PCSOs, traffic wardens, transport police. The guys that don't swear an oath, those are the guys that are getting the new jobs. And the police, I mean, up in the northeast, they're talking about merging Durham Constabulary. Is it Durham Constabulary merging with Northumbria Police?
I believe so. I've not read all the details yet.
So that'll obviously be a financial relation and more centralisation again. It's just ridiculous.
One thing you can be sure of is you won't actually have less police, or they'll be focusing on what they want to focus on. They have made us demand more police on the streets, so that is what we're going to get. I'm pretty sure of it, one way or another.
Well, I don't think we will for a minute, because it seems to me that the police are becoming more and more like RoboCop every day. Covered in body armour, walking around with non-lethal ways of making us feel pain. And the chances of some little bobby on a bicycle coming down your street and going, "Hello, how are you, mate?" I think are remarkably.
I didn't mean that sort of bobby. I just meant police on the streets.
Yeah. You mentioned the sort of upscaling of the sort of the creation of a police force that looks like a futuristic military force. Well, to me, the whole G20 situation just seems like one massive stage show. It's almost like watching a film now. It really is, and it's like it just seems so surreal. It just seems completely and utterly planned that this is exactly how it's going to play out. And you've got people playing their part, whether they know they're playing their part or not. Charlie Veitch is a good example. Now, he obviously went to Canada, and what happened to him happened. Now, I don't know if he was really, really surprised at what happened to him, but that's going to happen a lot more. And it's almost like the path has been written. It's been written there, and we're jumping into it and we're following it, and it's all part of this big game.
Theo, you met Charlie Veitch. You interviewed Charlie, didn't you?
I interviewed him on my show, yeah. But what happened in Canada was an abuse of power and abuse of process. And unfortunately, because the judiciary are part of the abuse, there is no remedy. The fact is their intention is to create as much pain as possible for those who would dare to protest, so that they will put off anybody but the most brave, and they will punish those most brave. That is what their intention appears to be.